This is an exclusive presentation of WOWO 1190 AM and 107.5 FM, Unholstered.
Welcome back. Hopefully you are enjoying your weekend. You are enjoying the summer because, yes, it is officially summer. This is Unholstered, and we're talking a lot about the summer on today's program. But if this is your first time ever tuning in, we've been doing this show now for almost 2 years. But my name is Kayla Blakesley. I'm just one of your hosts, and this is the show all about sharing and telling the stories that just don't often get told when it comes to law enforcement. And I do it alongside you, Sophia.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sophia Rosales-Catina. I'm a captain with the Fort Wayne Police Department and the other co-host of the show.
Yes,
So,
you are the other host of this program. Sometimes people just think you're my weekly guest, if you will, sharing the side of law enforcement. But no. Sophia's always in the hot seat with me. In fact, this program, Sophia, would not even exist without you.
I like when you say hot seat because sometimes that's what it feels like.
Yeah, for sure. I do put you on the spot a lot of times. But I feel like today, I shouldn't be putting you on the spot too much. As I mentioned, we are officially in the throes of the summer. And with that, I know that the Fort Wayne Police Department, and I'm sure many police departments across the country for that matter, get really, really busy. But what I don't know is if most people realize, all of the summer programs that you have. What's great about you and the Fort Wayne Police Department, y'all are really active on social media, which I think is great. You really kind of going above and beyond with your community relations and updating neighborhoods and residents and just, everyone around Fort Wayne of what's going on. But I took one quick peek at your social media recently and I'm like, wow, they've got a ton of stuff going on. So how do you manage, first of all of the programs that you do throughout the summer?
I never sleep.
Yeah. Seriously, there's a lot going on.
And then couple that with, your home life and your own responsibilities of your own family. So it's a lot.
Well, you did. As soon as you walked in here, I was like, oh, hey, how's it going? And you go, well, I'm just waiting to get caught up on life. I mean, that was like the first thing you said to me today.
Yeah, it's a lot. But, I love it. It's a passion. So for me, it's not work. It's just something I do. So we have a lot of things going on, especially in the summer because we have summer programming and we work really closely with the Boys and Girls Club here locally. We're always in the club. We have a lot of things going on all throughout the year, but especially in the summer, because our SROs are out of the classroom. And while they do go back to the street and do pick up street duty, they do help us a lot with our programming that we do during the summer. And then we just have a lot of things that we just do every year. So, for instance, we just in June had kicked off Badges in Baseball that will...
Okay, I saw the pictures from that. That looks really awesome. What is that?
So it's a program that we do with the World Baseball Academy through the Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club brings two groups of kids. One is under 5th grade and the other is 5th and 6th grade. So we have a group of kids probably from 3rd to 5th grade, judging by the size of them, and how they're just the sweetest little kids. Oh, my gosh. But we had a lot of fun, and we do every Tuesday and Wednesday morning. We meet with these kids, and we talk about things. We play baseball, and they just learn. There's several coaches that are out there. They're youth, probably late teens, maybe early 20 coaches, and then there's a lead coach who looks to be a little bit older. But they teach them fundamentals of baseball. Some of these kids have never thrown a ball or caught a ball or hit with a bat or even know about base running. So they take the kids out. We kind of help them. We play catch. I didn't bat, but I played catch with a little girl. I leave them to the bat because they think that's the most fun. And it is. But, it's like I was out there yesterday or a couple days ago and it's like herding a bunch of cats because they're just running around everywhere, just having fun.
To be there,
yeah, they're just so excited. And Tinsley was out, and of course, the dog was the big distraction.
Oh, I'm sure.
But it was a lot of fun, and this is what we want. We want those interactions with kids. We want them to see that, don't be afraid to come up to us because we're not something they should be fearful of.
I'm curious, do you guys, so you're obviously outside, you're in the heat.
Oh, it's hot.
Yeah, I'm sure it's always hot. Are you still wearing are you in civilian clothes or are you in full uniform?
We're in full uniform, and it depends on where you're working. So some people wear like polo and a BDUs. When I do these programming with the kids, I always like to wear my full uniform just so they see that, they get acclimated to that.
So that's what I was going to say, and that's kind of why I asked. I almost feel like it's so important that you wear the full uniform because, again, this goes back to, you don't want kiddos to be afraid of you. You want them to feel like they can approach you. And, I mean, it's very different. And, I've said this multiple times. when you all come in here and you all are suited up and you got your vest on and you've got your firearm on your hip. I mean, it's a lot more, can be a lot more intimidating
Absolutely.
than when I see Sophia in her civilian clothes.
Yeah. But what's really nice is when the kids recognize you because you've been involved with them so much, they recognize you in and out of uniform.
Yeah.
That's the goal.
Shoot, I still don't recognize you out of uniform sometimes. You come in here with your hair straight and your polo on. I'm like, who are you?
Yeah. So, but it's important to us. And we have a lot of officers that donate their time to go. Some come before work. Some are just leaving work and going home. So it's just a bunch of different officers throughout this program. And it runs almost a month with the Boys and Girls Club and the World Baseball Academy. So we're really happy with that. That program, and that's been, I think this is our third year doing that. Throughout the summer, then we, again, with the Boys and Girls Club, we have a youth-led dialogue. So that's where we take a group of mostly like middle school to early high school teens, and we get them in a group, and officers go in and they get to ask us questions. So we don't get to ask them questions at all. They just write their question on a piece of paper. And sometimes they'll put like a gender and an age. I think this year we just had them put an age to the question, and we don't know who said it. They can tell us if they want.
So they get this little piece of paper. They write their question. They can put name, age, gender if they want to, but they don't necessarily have to. And then you throw in like a big bucket or a hat or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And then we go through, select the question, we answer questions. And some of these questions are really tough. They talk about their family life. They talk about, why do you arrest people? Why do you hurt people? Or, just questions that in their head, they think that this is what policing is. And then we kind of go through those and walk them through. It's like, what actually happened? What did you see? And then we try to explain if we can. A lot of these kids come from homes where they've had a lot of police interaction. And I remember, people probably know that my daughter's adopted. And I remember her telling me this fundamentally changed the way I looked at my job, the way I relate to people. She said, because I always thought when I would go to these houses that I was helping, right? Kids don't see it that way. Because she said, when the police came to my home, either my parents got arrested or we got taken. So that's where they are.
Their perception.
When they see me.
That's their reality. Yeah.
That's the reality. And so they don't see that I do so many other things. And that was really hard for me to hear. But it really helped me in my view of how now I think people see me, especially children. Mm-hmm. So we really
it's almost kind of heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
Makes me sad.
Yeah. That was her experience. But that's the experience of a lot of kids. So we've got to change that narrative in their eyes and say, okay, that doesn't make your parent bad, doesn't make me bad. It's just that this is a mistake that happened that your parents made. The problem is that, we don't want repetitive behavior. So everybody makes a mistake. Does that make someone bad? Absolutely not. We can make mistakes and we can pick ourselves back up and we can go forward. It's the repeated mistakes. And here is why we have to do that.
This is a really, really cool program to me, this youth dialogue. How does this work? How are these kids selected? How are they brought to where you guys are? How does this work?
They're all kids from the Boys and Girls Club. And the Boys and Girls Club selects the kids.
Okay.
We have nothing in it. They pick the groups, and we just go in and talk. And sometimes they're little, and sometimes they're older kids. This year we're a little on the older kids, but we've had younger kids in the past. And their questions are a lot more simple.
Have you ever shot anyone?
Have you ever shot anybody?
I'm sure that's the number one question.
What kind of gun do you have?
Yeah.
And do you like your taser?
Yeah.
So those are like the simple questions. But as they get older, we get into the harder questions, which I am always happy to engage those kind of questions, especially with our youth.
Do you recall one ever stumping you, or where you got one and you're like, I don't know how to answer that one?
Some of these questions when they're talking about personal stuff kind of stump you because, I can't answer their personal question because I don't know the circumstances of what happened. So sometimes, you kind of have to just sit here and wait and think about how you're going to answer that in a way that someone can understand that might not know a lot of legal terms or, you have to, and I don't want to say dumb it down because these kids are not dumb at all. They're very smart and they're very intuitive. But you have to present it in a way that not only that person understands, but the whole group.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And legal jargon is not something that I don't know that either. I would need you to quote, spell it out for me as well.
Yeah, and that's why a lot of times I don't like to talk in legal jargon. I mom speak is what I call it, because I want to make sure that everyone's understanding what I say, even if you don't have, kind of a vocabulary that's extensive or something like that.
So how often do y'all go in for these youth dialogues?
That's every week.
Oh, that's every week through the summer. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're getting pegged with them every week.
Yeah, every week. And
you need to share with us like some of the questions.
I
you're
will.
getting throughout the summer.
I'll pull some of them and share with you what they are.
Pull the good ones. I mean, maybe. Certainly, other people, adults, might have similar questions.
Yeah, they might. So some of them are really cute. A lot of them. It was Tinsley Day yesterday. So they got to ask questions all about the dog, and he was in there, and oh my gosh, they were just giggling and laughing.
Tinsley's a hit.
Oh yeah. He did tricks. He showed all the tricks he's learned, and so he was really, really good and very entertaining for the kids. It lasted a whole hour of questions and answers.
Wow.
Yeah,
just from a dog. The youth dialogue. You also team up with the World Baseball Academy. Yeah. What other programs do you have?
We also run a youth camp. And basically we do? Yeah, we do. It's for a whole day. It's through the Y. This year we're holding it at Renaissance. We used to do several of them through the summer, but man, they're a lot to put together, and everybody's so shorthanded of the groups we call on to come to this. So we decided to just do one, and we're going to have all the Ys bring their kids to the Renaissance Y.
Oh, that's a great idea. And again, all of these, your officers, y'all are volunteering your time for this, right?
We are. Some people are on duty and can slip out, like our SROs, because they're not part of minimum count. So we do pull them for that. But we have a lot of people that step up from our emergency services team for all the other teams that we have that do come out and share with the kids. So it's an all-day thing. So they come in the morning, and we do morning classroom stuff with them. So we do fingerprinting and all this kind of police stuff. We have a group that comes in, an insurance group that comes in, and they do a digital photograph for them, for their parents, so they have an updated photograph if they don't have
nice.
one. They get the height and weights and stuff in case something happened to the child. And then we go and in the afternoon, they have lunch there at the Y. In the afternoon, we bring in a bunch of equipment. So it's not just us. We do invite the fire department. We invite TRA. So they all come out, and we just show them what the equipment is. They get to put stuff on. They get to write on the cot in the ambulance. They get to do all sorts of fun stuff and just learn from the people doing those jobs. Because what we're really doing here is while we're making this a really educational functionality part of their day, but really we want to open up careers for them, because these are our future firefighters, police officers, medics. And it's important that kids see people like them in positions so they know it's attainable for them. Right. So if we always see our certain people in certain jobs, and other kids don't really see themselves in that.
They don't see it as an option for them.
I think, so I think it's real important that we have a very diverse group of people there, and we do. And because policing might not be for everyone, okay, but you might want to still help people. So maybe firefighting or being a paramedic might be more up your alley. So they get to talk to people one-on-one, see what they do, hear all about their jobs, and then have fun with the equipment.
That is amazing. So when is this camp? How can people get involved?
That's in July, and your kids have to be signed up in the Y day camps.
Okay.
And you should probably be getting a letter, if you haven't already, if not soon, about this camp. And it does always fill up fast.
Well, I was just going to ask you that, because you said this year it's a little bit different, where all the Ys are they're all joining at the Renaissance there.
Right.
They're all coming to you. Is there a limited number of slots for that?
That's something the Y will decide.
I see. Okay.
And then they will figure all those logistical things out, and we just kind of show up.
So you will be one of those officers there?
I will be at the camp, yes.
That is so.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy all of that?
I do. I enjoy the kids because they're just so fun. And they're just full of questions. And a lot of times after these camps, we've done panel discussions where they just get to ask us whatever they want to ask us. And they can ask us whatever, and we'll answer.
Yeah.
So I always like doing that, because the kids come up with the best questions. And they're really like, I never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
But, so kids just see things differently than adults.
Man, I felt that way
cool.
after taking your procedural justice course not too long ago. Some of the questions that we got to ask, and I mean, again, through a kid, that was through my eyes. I'm 34 years old, and I learned a lot, let alone through a kid's eyes, kind of having a similar experience. I know they're not exactly the same. What I
Yeah, but
went
they
through,
get to ask all about the equipment
Yeah.
and things like that. If we're too afraid to ask. Sometimes, they're more familiar with the SROs because a lot of these kids are in the schools that the SROs are in.
Yeah.
So they already have those relationships with them. So they're very comfortable asking questions of someone they know. So when they see their SRO on that panel, they'll go straight to them like, hey.
So you've got that going in July. You've got these youth dialogues every week with the Boys and Girls Club, the World Baseball Academy.
Yes.
Any other ones?
Yeah, our summer will wrap up with a program that we just brought back to this community that we hadn't had in a very long time. It's called National Night Out. This is a national program. Most communities do them. We hadn't done it for probably 28 years. And we're bringing it back. We brought it back last year. It was down at Fryman Square, and it will be down at Fryman Square again. It's August 1st, Tuesday night. It'll be 5:30 to 7:30, so it'll be 2 hours. Where you can come down, we will have all our equipment. There'll be lots of officers down there. There'll be a backpack giveaway again this year. We did that last year. We ran out of backpacks very quickly, I think within the first 30 minutes.
Wow.
So our sponsors, I believe this year, Target is coming back with additional backpacks. They were a big sponsor for us last year. And Walmart was another big sponsor for us last year, providing school supplies. So what we did last year, and I'm looking, we're probably going to do the same this year, is we'll have community resource tables. Because we know there's a lot of people in this community who need help with certain things. So we invite resources like Allen County Connect. We'll have our victims assistance down there. We'll have some school resources down there if you're having issues with schools, those kinds of things. There was also some community fun things like kids boxing. They were invited. The Parkview Fieldhouse was down there last year. So just things in the community. And people can just come down. They can talk to all these. And when you go to every table, you get a school supply at every table. So, and you have to engage the table to get the supply.
Yeah.
That way you know that people are going and getting the information that they may need and also receiving the school supply.
Like a ruler,
for the
notebooks, pens, pencils,
and
things
each
like
station had a different school supply. So this year we may just put it all in the backpack and put it at the end, but they have to get a punch card through the whole thing.
Gotcha. Well,
but we don't know what we're doing this year. We'll change it up a little bit.
I know it's a national thing, but do you ever get local sponsors for that to help with all the supplies?
Well, that's who the local Targets here and the local Walmarts
gotcha.
are the ones that have supplied us with the materials. So it's been really good. And, we have like recovery services down there. We have our heart team that's down there. So these are all things that are, happening in our community. And if people don't know about it, we want them to know about it. So.
Well, and that's just it. I think we need to reshare this coming up because, as you said, August 1st,
yes,
right?
Yes, August 1st. We'll probably talk about it again. Sure.
Yeah, we definitely need to talk about it again. But that's the other thing, too, kind of what I said at the beginning about people just following you on social media in general. Y'all are very, very active on social. I know you have a big part.
I do have a big part, yeah. And it becomes overwhelming. And there's usually just two of us doing it. We're doing that. And imagine setting up all these events, and imagine then I still have to be head of the Southeast Quadrant. So I've got a lot on my plate, and social media kind of takes it back.
Yeah.
Takes the back burner for me at times. But I love doing it. I love all those funny posts I get to make. I get to use my sense of humor, which I don't often get to use in policing, but I do get to use it on social media occasionally, and that's really fun. And we can't post everything. We do a lot of stuff and we don't post it just because I can't get to it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I would encourage people to go follow your Facebook page. What is your handle?
Fort Wayne Police Department.
Fort Wayne Police Department. That way you can kind of be in the know, especially throughout the summer with all of these things coming up. Or if you take your kid to the Y, or your kid is involved with the Boys and Girls Club, you can kind of be in the know of some of these things that are happening.
Yeah, and I will say, because people do get concerned, when I post pictures of kids, I always ask permission before I do that.
How does that work? Do you have to sign the release for that?
You don't have to. I just normally get a verbal from the parent. I'm like, hey, can I share this? If they say no, I take the picture out of my queue immediately, just so I don't make the mistake of posting it later. Now, all our Boys and Girls Clubs, they all have releases signed. If we're in the schools, the releases are signed, so we know which kid can and cannot be photographed. So, and if they can't be, sometimes I'll go in and blur their face if it's a larger group. Because, privacy is very important. And I was a foster parent, so I know that some foster kids cannot be photographed. And so I'm really aware of that. And I've made my team aware of that as well. So we're very cautious about that.
Who do you have? This might be a really silly question. I mean, around here where I work at Federated Media, we have an events coordinator. They're called our promotions director. They handle all of our events for us for all of the stations that we have here.
Oh, wow.
Do you have someone like that that's handling like, hey, this year we are going to do this national event and bring it back? Like who does all that? Who coordinates all that?
That is myself,
Really?
Deputy
You do
Chief
that
McKinney,
too?
and Officer Lisa Woods. Yeah, we're the three that handle all our events.
So if an organization was like, hey, I want to team up with you guys, or here's an option to team up and do this for the kids this summer or something like that, you're the person. You're the gal.
I am the go-to. Yeah, I'll get the ball rolling and I'll get it out to where it needs to be. Throughout the summer too, we also have Coffee with a Cop. McDonald's has been a great sponsor for us.
Yeah, how does that
for
work? I mean, I know what that is, but our listeners might not know what that is.
Yeah, so we just kind of team up with anybody who wants it. But right now it's primarily been McDonald's because they've coordinated us through the whole year. So we have dates set up for the entire year. But they've asked us to come back. This was a big thing pre-COVID. It kind of got fizzled out during COVID, but they wanted to bring it back. So they brought it back. And it was in November. I think our first outing was in the New Haven McDonald's. And because New Haven butts up so closely to our Southeast Quadrant, our officers did go to that one as well. It was very engaging. Allen County goes, state police go, and we just all have representation. And people can come in, and McDonald's will give you a free coffee. If you bring your child in, they'll give them a free cookie. And we'll just have a conversation of whatever you want to talk about. And
do a lot of people turn out for these?
It's been hit or miss.
Yeah.
But the New Haven one was packed. We did it on a Saturday morning, so they had they're normals that go in there, and the whole place was packed. So that was really engaging. We're trying it in the evening now. It's not as good. I feel it's not as good as in the morning.
Well, Coffee with the Cop. I mean, I don't know. I think morning too. Immediately when I'm thinking a cup of coffee.
Yeah. So they wanted to try in the afternoon, and we'll do whatever. But we do have people that show up to those, and we'll engage them. We'll talk to them. We have a lot of fun sometimes, and the kids that come in they're just a lot of fun. So we post when we're done with those. I think the next one's in September.
Yeah. How often do you do them?
Usually they're 4 or 5 times a year with McDonald's.
But if someone, Duncan's listening right now.
Yeah, if someone else wanted to have us, just let me know. You can go through our FWPD.org and you can schedule an officer. Just put, hey, I'm interested in Coffee with a Cop. And here's my location, my business, and I'll see what I can do. I can't promise anything, but I'll see what I can do. And generally, we can make most things work.
And for folks listening, again, if they wanted to find out when your next Coffee with a Cop is, again, your social media, probably the best resource for that?
That's where we primarily post everything. We'll have National Night Out, social things come up throughout July, just as reminders. And anything that's open to the general public like that, we'll post. If I remember.
I'm like, no wonder you come in today and you're like, just woof, there's so much going on. I'm exhausted. Well, and then don't you have a graduating class?
We do. I'm glad you brought that up because I was like, I don't want to forget that. Next week on Thursday night, we graduate our new class of officers.
How many you got this year?
I believe we have 22 graduating.
That's great.
This year. And I'm super excited because there's some kids in there that I can't wait to see out on the street. And I can say kids because I'm old and they're young. But it's always nice to see them and see just, I remember going back when I was graduating, it's like, oh, I'm a little scared. I'm excited and scared and all the emotions, and you can see it on their face. But the families are super excited for them. The ceremony is very nice. It'll be at Reinhardt Music Auditorium at IPFW, or it's not IPFW, it's PFW.
PFW,
sorry.
Yep. Well,
IPFW.
We all knew what you meant. We all knew what you meant.
Yeah.
I think that's cool too. I mean, 22 sounds like a lot to me. Is that a lot?
It's not a lot.
It's not. Okay.
My graduating class was 33.
Okay.
But it's what we normally have, anywhere between 15 to 20, low 20s.
Okay.
I would consider that a good number. We had when we sat our class, it was a class of 25, so we lost a few in the process. But so we sat 25 at our initial academy, and you look at places like Indianapolis, when they sat their academy, they sat 30. So we're only 5 off from a pool of over 1 million people to our pool of just a couple 100,000.
See, I think that's pretty good. And
that's really good.
I guess the reason to me, I was thinking, it's like, wow, 22, that seems like a lot. I just feel like sometimes with everything going on with law enforcement these days, the rhetoric that a lot of people are hearing and seeing, to me, I would just assume a lot of people don't want to be a police officer these days. Recruitment I would assume, be down because of all of that. So to me, I'm pleasantly surprised and so welcome to hear that number of 22.
Yeah, because, we have people retiring out, aging out.
That too, yeah.
And we have to backfill those spots. And I always encourage people, everyone wants to poo-poo policing and all this kind of stuff and like, oh, we're not needed, or no, you guys are this or that. But who's going to protect this community?
Yeah.
Who's going to help people? Who's going to...
If your child goes missing, who are you going to call?
Yeah, the same people you want to get rid of are the same people fighting human trafficking or taking kids out of abusive homes and making sure that people are punished, or not. We don't make sure they're punished. We're making sure they are held up to a trial for what they've done. And I don't understand how people can denigrate a whole profession for what a few people do.
Yeah, you and me
We
both.
don't do that anywhere else.
Yep.
Well, maybe in the clergy, but those are the only two. And we don't hold people accountable for, who they are for
their actions.
Well, I always equate it to this. It's, we want to, when there's one bad officer, we're all bad. Mm-hmm. But I don't say because one Black person or one Asian person or one Black person did something that the whole group is bad. Right. It's the same thing. And I don't understand how people can be
just because one blonde is dumb doesn't mean all of them are dumb, right?
So I can't ever kind of reconcile.
Yeah, I have a hard time wrapping my brain around that too. I mean, hence this show, Sophia. Yeah. And I actually love this particular episode because we did get to talk about all of the good that the Fort Wayne Police Department is doing, all of the good in our community, the community relations that's happening with our Fort Wayne Police Department, because that too sometimes gets lost in the noise, unfortunately.
Yeah.
All of the good that is actually happening. If you want to stay updated on all of these programs and the good that is happening within the Fort Wayne Police Department, I would really encourage folks to follow. If you've missed any previous episodes of Unholstered, you can download the Unholstered podcast anywhere you download a podcast. Your town, your team, your topics. This is Unholstered.
Thanks for listening to Unholstered. Be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen. And remember, you can listen every Saturday morning at 10:30 on WOWO 1190 and 107.5 FM.
Podcasts by Federated Media.